Hello everyone and welcome to our final chapter. Woohoo! All right, final chapter of our course, and that is chapter 12, consonant clusters. Consonant clusters are groups of two or more consonant sounds in sequence together. In English we say cluster. A cluster is a group of items close together. And that's what consonant clusters are. Two or more consonant sounds that are one right after the other in sequence. And they are very common in English. And they're especially common at the very beginning and at the very end of words. Let me give you some examples of two consonant clusters. Sleep. Sleep. What we all love to do and don't get enough of. Sleep has an initial consonant cluster, right? Two consonant sounds, S sound and L sound. Sleep. That's at the beginning of a word, but again, you can also have them at the end of words too. For example, ask. Ask. S-K consonant sounds as a cluster together. Ask. We have three consonant clusters as well. Three consonant sounds, one right after the other. For example, spring. Spring. S-P-R consonant sounds all together at the very beginning. And another example, we saw this in chapter 4 when we were talking about grammatical endings. The ED grammatical ending has this consonant cluster at the very end. For example, worked. 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 So you have R, K, and then remember when ED is preceded by a K consonant sound, ED has a T consonant sound, a T pronunciation. So that's how we get the R, K, T consonant cluster. Worked. Worked. And if you could believe it, we also have four consonant clusters. Yeah, four consecutive consonant sounds, in this case at the very end of the word worlds. 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 R, L, D, and then because, remember with the S, when S is followed by D consonant sound, it has that Z consonant sound pronunciation is voiced. Worlds. Worlds. So those are consonant clusters, everybody, and some languages do not have consonant clusters at all. Other languages only have a few, maybe only in the beginning or only at the end. Because consonant clusters are not as predominant in other languages, these can be challenging for many English learners. I think if you're a native Spanish speaker or Portuguese speaker, if your first language is a Romance language, I would say that more often than not, it's the initial consonant clusters, the consonant clusters that happen at the beginning of a word that are challenging. For example, a lot of native Spanish speakers, they want to add a vowel sound at the beginning of these consonant clusters, like school, student, study, stop, right? Those two or three consonant clusters at the beginning. A lot of native Spanish speakers and perhaps a lot of native Portuguese or Italian speakers They want to add a vowel sound at the beginning. But if you do that, it can change the meaning of a word. Or it just makes it difficult for people to understand, right? Now, that's a common error for native Spanish speakers. Perhaps maybe you make that error from time to time. If you are a native Mandarin Chinese speaker, or you're Vietnamese speaker, I know a lot of East Asian languages. Forgive me. A lot of East Asian languages omit these final consonant clusters and really final consonant sounds at the very end. Maybe they'll take away some of those sounds, and if you do that, that may change the meaning of the word or make it difficult to understand entirely. So here we are at the very end of our course. We're really kind of zooming in on these specific features, phonetic features of the language. We looked at linking last chapter. And there's going to be a little bit of linking that takes place in this chapter too. That's one of the strategies for how we simplify clusters. It can be exhausting. It can be tiring to fully articulate, to fully pronounce these words. Ask. There are native English speakers that don't do this. For example, there's a dialect of English, Ebonics. And in Ebonics, they don't fully pronounce a lot of final consonant clusters. Like some, predominantly in the African American population, they'll pronounce this as ax. Let me ax you something. Can I ax you? They won't fully pronounce the K consonant sound. Worked. We looked at it actually in the chapter 4. We talked about how that middle consonant sound is omitted. These are strategies that we use to simplify, to make our pronunciation easier, to improve our rhythm, our comfort, and in the end, for people to understand us better. So that's what we're focusing on this chapter. Initial and final consonant clusters. And again, because they're not as prevalent in other languages, they can be challenging, but we can definitely overcome them. And this is where you can really improve in your overall intelligibility and people understanding you better is focus on features like this. So we're going to do a warm-up activity together. Exercise 1 on page 112. And you can see the difference between the first column and the second column. What's the difference between these words here? Take a look at the underlined portions here. You can see that the majority of the words in this column have consonant clusters, right? Again, a consonant cluster is a group of 2 or more consonant sounds. Here we have a consonant cluster, right? F and L. Flight. Here we do not have a consonant cluster. There's only one consonant sound. That's the F sound. Fight. Here's another consonant cluster. Pray. Pay. State. Estate. Here's an example for those of you that are native speakers of Romance languages. Adding a vowel sound, the vowel sound, as is very common in Spanish, and I do believe Portuguese and Italian as well. Yeah, it changes the whole word. State, like California. Estate, like property, a farm or a ranch or what have you. So I want you to listen to these pairs of words. And I want you to check the word that you hear and pay attention to those initial consonant clusters and those final consonant clusters. Pay attention to the underlined portions of the words there and check the word that you hear. All right, let's go ahead and give it a try here. Exercise 1, which is CD 3, track 12.
Chapter 12, Exercise 1A, page 112.
1. Terrible flight.
2. Pay here.
3. Estate laws.
4. A pie.
5. Stock market.
6. Split up.
Okay, I'll play one more time for you.
Chapter 12, Exercise 1A, page 112.
1. Terrible flight.
2. Pay here.
Pay here.
3. Estate laws.
Estate laws.
4. A pie.
A pie.
5. Stock market.
Sock market.
6. Split up.
Split up. So you can tell the difference is very, very nuanced. It's very minor. But there's a difference in terms of the meaning of the word. Stock market, stock market, or sock market. Are you playing the stock market, with investments, or are you paying the sock market, which I'm not sure what that would be. Maybe at JCPenney or Target, right? Apply for a job or a pie in the face. Big differences between these. Listen to it one more time if you need to, or rewind this video, which I apologize is getting very long. You can go ahead and check the very bottom underneath this video, and I provide you with the correct answers. So let's go ahead and dive in. Our final chapter, chapter 12, consonant clusters. I think you'll find that this will really improve your pronunciation or your awareness of some of the common mistakes that you may make with either initial at the very beginning or final at the very end consonant clusters in English. Welcome everybody to chapter 12.